and welcome along to another Friday bet along on sportsrundown.com. We're a little bit late today, so sorry, we had a few technical difficulties. Our esteemed leader is away for the weekend, so we're taking on some of the task he nearly does, or normally does himself. So apologies for being slightly tardy.
Our producer come director come star of the show is missing, so
exactly, yeah, Jack
struggling by.
Lads, how are you getting on tonight?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to another night of it.
Yeah, good as well. Hopeful on our treble, but I think Slats might give us an update on that one. I don't know if it's off to the best start.
Well, it depends if you're a glass half full or glass half empty sort of person. So, yeah, I mean, our regular viewers will be familiar with our live action ACCA, but we do this every week. The three of us, that being me, Gary, and LB, who's missing tonight, we each pick a bet individually, and then we combine each of our picks into a treble, and that treble will be live on air through the show. So there's three legs of it. The first is live already, and the other two will be going live, I think, both in the next 10 minutes. But just to get it started, and in case people haven't seen, I'll run through my bet. So the overall treble is going to be paying out at 18-1. And if the bet comes off, we pay our most active commenter, our most engaging person on the social media platforms, YouTube. I'm not sure if we're live on Facebook at the moment or Twitter, but our best engagement will get the payoff if our treble comes off. The first leg in that treble is my pick, and it's in the Dutch 2 League, which I commonly bet on and commonly use in this Friday ACCA. And the bet this week is Almere City are home to Volendam. Volendam are top of the table. Almere are 18th, like third from bottom. And Volendam are unbeaten on the road this season. They've, I think, 4 wins and 3 draws out of their 7 away games. Almere have only won 2 of their home games. They've lost, I think, 5 of them. So I was surprised to see that Volendam were above evens. They were like 23-20 for the win. Looking at the goal stats, Volendam, even though they're unbeaten on the road, they still concede in most games. And Almere, even though they don't have a great home record, they've scored in all but 1 of their 8 home games. So I kind of fancied Almere to get in the score sheet, even if they weren't going to have enough to win the game. Volendam to win. So the bet I picked was both teams to score and Volendam to win, and the odds on that were 13-5. And that's what PK was alluding to, because I need Volendam to win, and they've gone down 1-0. It's about 35 minutes into that game now, and Almere are leading 1-0. But that said, we do need them to score for the bet anyway, so I'm going to be optimistic and think that's handy for our both teams to score element of the bet. Volendam have been dominating a lot of the stats. They've 60% of possession. They've had 6 shots on target, and just their 7th shot on target is a goal. It's gone 1-1 there. So
lovely,
very much back on track.
No,
sorry, it's been disallowed, unfortunately.
Slats, don't be doing that to us.
I know, but they've had 7 shots on target and 1 off target, compared to Almere's 2 shots on target. So they're dominating there, 4 corners to 0, and a disallowed goal just now. So even though Almere are up 1-0, I think I don't think that bet is looking too badly.
We're 2 minutes into the show and you're putting us through the ringer already.
I was buzzing there for a second. But...
So if anyone, obviously any of our viewers have a shot of winning this accumulator just simply by commenting, but if you do want to get on that bet, you would still be getting pretty good odds. I mean, Volendam are 3-1 now just to win. Obviously, if they win, both teams to score is going to be a part of that with Almere already on the score sheets. So, you could just replace my pick for the Volendam win and you're already getting better odds, because 3-1 is slightly better than 13-5. So, yeah, that's the first leg of it. Gary, I don't know if you want to talk through your leg next, or...
Yeah, I can take my leg. So my leg is Barnsley versus West Brom. So I actually fancied 2 bets in this, and I'll call both of them out. I need to actually get on the second one. But in terms of Barnsley West Brom, so Barnsley have only won 1 of their last 14 in the league. They're on a terrible run. They should be bottom of the table, so they're currently second bottom. But that's the reason they're second bottom and not bottom is that Derby have had a 21-point deduction. So I think Derby are on something like 8 points now, even after the 21-point deduction. And that only puts them about 4 or 5 behind Barnsley, which just shows you how bad Barnsley have been this season. And then West Brom have been in good form recently. They've got back into the hunt for the league title and the automatic playoff places. They've had back-to-back wins. Coming into this game, they were 4-5 with Quinbet for the win overall. That tempted me, but I do most of my betting with Betfair, and I think they were 8-11 there. So I went for the kicker of West Brom and over 1.5 goals, which brings it to 6-5 on Betfair. So that's what I've put in for the bet today. I think it has a great chance. I'd be very, very disappointed if West Brom don't win. And although they haven't been too prolific recently, they do create a lot, and they've got a good few strikers and attacking players that, for this division are very good. So, yeah, I think it has a really good chance. And then I called out Callum Robinson to have 2 shots on target. So he's priced at 9-4 to have 2 shots at target. And I think that's a really good bet. He scored in their last game. He's kind of a streaky player. So, I think he has every chance of landing that bet as well. So I'm going to do a same game multi of I might even go over 2.5 goals. I'm just going to do it now. So West Brom win over 2.5 goals. Robinson to have 2 shots on target, and I'll throw in corners as well. It's at 6-5 about West Brom and over 1.5 is juicy enough for me.
Yeah, sounds decent. Yeah, the stats definitely back that one up. I'll shout out LB's as he's missing in action tonight, but he still gave us a bet to include in this treble. So it's in one of his favourite leagues to punt on the Belgian First Division A. Excuse me. So I'm going to try my best to pronounce the teams he's gone for, but it's tonight's Belgium game. It's Seraing at home to KV Kortrijk. And LB fancies an away win here. So all 3 of our bets actually involve away wins, which, obviously isn't planned. We pick these bets independent of each other and then put them together into the treble. But yeah, he's pretty good logic for it. He said that Kortrijk went on a kind of an odd enough run during November, drawing 5 of their 6 matches and kind of dropping off out of the playoff spots a bit. But in recent weeks, they've kind of found a bit of form. They've had 2 back-to-back wins, and they're kind of back in the hunt for the playoffs. Despite the poor enough form, they've one of the best defenses in the league, and they've a decent road form as well. They've only lost 1 of their last 8 away games, and that was against the front runners, Club Bruges, who dominate that league. These teams met in the summer, and Kortrijk won 2-0, so he's kind of expecting something similar here. 11-8, so they're favourites for the win, but not odds-on favourites. So 11-8 is juicy enough just for the straight win. There's no goals or anything included in that, so just the win will be the next, the third of our 3 matches, and I think that one kicks off at 7:45 as well. So it should be kicking off soon. Although I don't see it.
I think you're right. Let me just double check, but I do believe it's a 7:45 kickoff, so it should be kicking off right now.
Yeah, I just don't see it up on Bet365. I'm just hoping there's no reason that there was a late cancellation of it or anything.
Not seeing anything.
Yeah, well, it should be kicking off in the next few minutes, so we'll keep an eye and hopefully we'll see it there. Volendam now have had 10 shots with 8 of them on target. Almere haven't had any since their goal. They've only had 2 shots in total, so I still think that bet is looking good, but it'd be great if Volendam could level it up before half-time. There's only a minute left until the break, so that's looking a little unlikely. But even if they come out playing the way they've appear to have played in this half, I'd still fancy them to have a good chance of winning that match.
I'm going to do a cover bet at halftime though. One of my favorites is, I'm going to go double chance for even money, or it's around even money on Volendam, or else whatever. It's kind of laying Almere winning essentially. As bets I like to get in on when there's heavy favorites and statistically well on top and dominate the game as such. That
and even the pre-game stats will back that up, because Volendam are unbeaten away this season, and Almere only have 2 out of 9 wins, or 2 out of 8 home wins. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely reasonable to expect an equaliser at a minimum. And it is an old favourite of yours, in fairness.
And Slats, were you saying you couldn't see Kortrijk? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kicked off though, Gordon.
Yeah, it did kick off. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like struggling there to find it myself, but eventually found it. So,
I know we're on our graphic. We have the Bayern game up, we did anyway. Just for transparency, I do have a pre-match bet in that of Bayern -2.5 because, well, they've just been blitzing teams lately, and Wolfsburg are in an awful run of form. They've lost their last 6, so there wasn't much value other than that. But they're 1-0 up after 16. They were 1-0 up after 7 minutes with Muller. So I'm hoping they continue scoring and I get a nice 3 or 4-0 win here.
yeah, I couldn't be back on Bayern now after them letting us down a couple of weeks ago when Slats had them in. I think they were 1-16 to beat Augsburg. But Slats had it for Augsburg, both teams to score and Bayern to win. And Augsburg ended up winning 2-1, I think, in that game. So ever since then, I said I'd leave them alone.
It's a month ago, Gary.
Handicaps.
They've won 6 since. So
have they?
5-0 against Stuttgart last week. So as much as I feel your pain, I'm willing to forgive and forget on this one.
I know, no, my bitterness holds no bounds, so we'll have to do a lot more to get back in my good books.
Oh, I know that one anyway. Another one that I have just pre-kickoff as well, just in my own bets, is a bet that I think Enzo alluded to a few times in different weeks, but he hasn't suggested this week. I've done Inter to beat Salernitana 2-0. Salernitana can't score, so I'm just going against them scoring, and I don't think Inter won't score. So I've done Inter to win 2-0 as well. So hopefully that one comes in also.
Sweet. I actually need to get a few bets on. So the bet I did in the same game multi, I left the win out of it because West Brom have actually gone into I think it's 8-15 to win. So I just went for Callum Robinson 2 shots on target, over 2.5 goals in the match, and over 10.5 corners. That's going to give me a good interest for the West Brom game, and then I'm going to have a look at doing kind of a goals ACCA around the place because I think there could be quite a lot of goals this evening. So I'm going to try and have John over 1.5 or an hour 2.5 ACCA and see where we land.
Yeah, I'm watching the beginning of this game, and the fog is pretty bad there at in Barnsley. I don't think it's too bad at pitch level, but from the camera, it seems to be pretty bad. But it doesn't seem to be affecting the football too much. But
yeah, I was looking at that earlier as well, PK, and I was worried it was actually going to get called off because it seemed one of those kind of, what you call it, a descending fog. You know, it seemed to be rolling in. But yeah, as you said, they've kicked off there, so fingers crossed they get through the whole game.
Yeah, they're using the yellow ball, so yeah, it's pretty tough on the cameras, but judging by like people on the pitch, it doesn't seem to be too bad at pitch level. Maybe it's just the height of the camera or distance that gives it a bad look. But yeah, I'm trying to follow it here, but it's not the easiest.
Yeah, and welcome back, Slats.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a bit of technical issues there myself, but I'm back for now anyway. So yeah, that Dutch game has gone to halftime 1-0, which isn't ideal. I am happy Almere got on the score sheet, but given Volendam had a goal disallowed, 1-1 with Volendam dominating the way they are, would have been a lot stronger going into the second half. Hopefully they get an early one in the second half and can go on to win that game.
Currently about to get on the double chance for Volendam.
Are you going to get on at that early? You're not going to wait to see how the second half starts off?
No, because like you said, they're dominating, and if they score in the first 5 minutes of the second half, I'll be kicking myself then. So.
Well, that's true, and it'd be such a positive for that bet as well if they were to do that. So yeah, I suppose once you kind of look for even money or above it, really, isn't it, for those bets?
Yeah, it's generally where I'm looking. Is even money. So I mean, once it's there, I'm very happy about it. So yeah. I'll jump on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I drop, Gary, you were just kind of asking me about that Belgium game. But yeah, I can see that's up and running now. It's on Bet365. The game's kicked off. Kortrijk have had the first shot on target, but there's no indication of who's really on top here in the opening five minutes or so other than that.
Yeah, and we actually have that on our stream now as the featured game. So yeah, people be able to keep up to date with it. So just for the viewers that are watching in, and unfortunately we're still having some problems with Facebook, so we won't have the regular kind of 1,500 viewers on Facebook, unfortunately. But that gives the people on YouTube more of a chance to win, and Twitter, I suppose. So if you are watching on YouTube or you're watching on Twitter, essentially, and you're new to the show, we do this thing called the All Action ACCA. So you will see it in the top probably right-hand corner of your screen as you're looking at it. That's the bet we have on today. So it is West Brom to win over 1.5 goals, Kortrijk to win, and then Volendam to win on both teams to score. So we put €10 on that to pay out 180. And for the most engaged viewer or the best comment tonight, we'll decide kind of around the 90th minute in the games who will win the money. And if the bet lands, we'll transfer that over to your account. So all you have to do is get in contact with us on Twitter or Facebook, give us your details so we can do Revolut or bank transfer, and we'll send that money across to you. So get commenting. We can, like, any comments are good comments. So questions on betting, we're experienced bettors here. So if you need any advice on your betting, if you have any bets on at the moment and you're looking for us to cheer them home with you, let us know what you've backed, or just any general insights on football or questions on the football. There's been a lot happening across Europe, and especially in the Premier League this week with the game cancellations, the numerous penalty shouts that have gone the way of the kind of top 4 or top 6 in the Premiership. So let us know your thoughts on that. I said anything is valid, anything goes, and we're here to interact with you guys. So the more comments, the better.
Just to interrupt you, Gary, West Brom nearly scored. I believe it was, I'm finding it hard to, I can't see the back of jerseys here for names, but I think it was Furlong had a header that came off the post. No, it was Livermore actually had a header came off the post, and then it went out for a corner after that, and then he had another chance from that, but he had a good strong header that came back off the post there 2 minutes ago. So West Brom look to be on top attacking wise in this so far, anyway.
Yeah, it's a good start. 4 minutes in, they've kind of, I'm watching here myself, they've been all over them. So fingers crossed that can continue for the rest of the evening, and instead of hitting the post, they can actually convert a few of the chances. So yeah, nice start though. And Sam for the update, PK. Slats, are you watching any game this evening?
I'm not, because I'm having a few issues with my laptop and I don't want to be dropping from our stream again. So I'm just keeping an eye on Bet365, looking at the stats there. So I'll be keeping mainly an eye, on the Dutch league, but that's all half time at the moment. So I'm keeping an eye on LB's bet now in the Belgian First Division. And Seraing have been on top the last few minutes. They had a couple of corners and a bit more of the possession. So hopefully Kortrijk can get a bit of a foothold in that game and maybe get a lead before half time. Aside from that, there's a Serie A game with Inter Milan traveling to Salernitana. I kind of like the away favourites angle, just that you can tend to get a bit more value. It often, and what I'll be hoping for here is it often takes the favourites a little longer to take a lead when it's away from home, so the odds can kind of drift in your favour a bit. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. There's not a whole lot gone on yet. Opening 8 minutes, they've had 70% of the possession, a few dangerous attacks and one shot. So, they're obviously dominating, but nothing too significant. So, yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. And just to go back to what you're saying about anyone commenting in, we do love to hear other people's bets and often end up tailing people's bets that they suggest in the comments. So definitely happy to see what anyone has.
That's a good segue into the first comment of the night, which I don't think we'll be tailing just yet, but it's from Chris Burr. And he's basically saying a Seraing win, which goes against LB's selection of Kortrijk. So yeah, I think if you've backed the Seraing win, Chris, you'll have all angles covered because you're the only commenter at night. So if Kortrijk win and that land, you'll be winning. And if Seraing
they
win,
are bet, and then
you'll be winning anyway. So
if it comes off, you win. Yeah. It's
but
an interesting one
Chris,
because both of those sides are fairly evenly matched odds-wise. Seraing are 6-4, Kortrijk are 15-8. So not much between them in terms of how the bookies think this game is going to go. The draw is 11-5, just to show all angles on it there. And maybe the draw might be the option if with people who are looking at either side of this as potential winners. Maybe it'll just go down the middle. But we'll certainly be cheering on Kortrijk for LB's pick of the treble. Yeah,
and I'm surprised that it is. I wouldn't know that much about the Belgian FDA. I leave that to LB, him being a alumni of Belgium anyway, from his college days. But yeah, he made a good case for it on the article when I was reading through our article. So I was surprised when I went in and I saw that it was so evenly matched. But yeah, bit of value there, hopefully.
I think where that value is probably going from is what LB talked through in the article about Kortrijk's poor run in November, where they didn't have a win in 6 games. They drew 5 and lost 1. And his call really for this match is he thinks that they've bounced back from that with their last 2 matches. They got 2 wins from. So I guess the odds would still be factoring in the longer form that, that's still only 2 wins in 8 games. But LB's take on it is, that they've kind of turned a corner a bit and they're back, back playing well, back in good form, and he's expecting that to continue into this game. So I think that's where he got the value from, and certainly he did justify backing them, and pretty good value if his call is correct there. Inter have just gone up 1-0, so they didn't give me enough time for those odds to drift to get on them at any sort of value. But
Perisic scored it. To add to LB's thing as well, there's only ever been 2 head-to-heads between Seraing and Kortrijk, and Kortrijk have won both by 2 goals, so 2-0 and 3-1. So, in the last 2 to 3 years. So, all roads lead to Kortrijk win there if you're doing pre-match analysis, and they do seem overpriced. So let's hope it plays out that way.
Yeah, another game I'm just looking at here, and I'm annoyed because I meant to get on this. Was Glentoran versus Glenavon in the Northern Ireland Premiership. I was tempted to use this game as my pick for the treble, but I said I'd stick with the Dutch too. The pick was going to be both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. So Glentoran, who were favourites, I think they were about 1-2 at kickoff, have gone up 1-0. So it'd be off to a good enough start, but I guess the main part of the bet was really for Glenavon to get on the score sheet. It was about 20-21, I think, so in around evens for both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. But I just went with the juice of that Dutch bet at 13-5 instead. But Glentoran, Glenavon, I think the last 15 times they met, 14 of those both teams scored, and the other game was 4-0. So there's always goals when these two pair up. And obviously the majority of those were over 2.5 goals as well. There was a couple of 1-1 draws in there, but generally they both score and over 2.5 goals. So to be getting evens, for something that ends that way far more often than it doesn't, it just seemed like decent value. If it stays one for a while, I might look to get on it, but I'd imagine the value is, gone out of that now significantly.
Lads, I do have to admit, because you did text that in yesterday when we were putting the bet together for the live action ACA. So when you dropped and had that technical difficulties, I did an over 2.5 goal ACA, and I actually put that in there. So my over 2.5 goal ACA is the Almere Volendam game, the 2 games in Northern Ireland, so Larne and Linfield, Glentoran and Glenavon, the Kortrijk game and the Barnsley game. So it's a 5-fold. Nice. It pays about 30-1.
Lovely.
So I may have to share some of that with you if
soon as I'm not on
the game lands. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, just when we were saying about the comments. So as well as commenting in, obviously we want to get your comments. We love having them in, but we really appreciate any subscriptions, likes, or follows on the relevant platform. So, we're trying to build a community here at Sports Rundown. So if you're on YouTube, if you can hit that subscribe button, and if you're watching it on Twitter, give our page a follow. You'll see all of our tweets of our articles and competitions and things like that. We've actually got a really good competition coming in the new year for any NFL fans. So just finalizing the details, but if you're into American football, it may be worth checking out our stream, our Twitter page or our Facebook page over the coming weeks, and you'll see a nice competition coming up there for the NFL playoffs.
Interested to hear that one myself. Slats, there's a game I want to pick your brain about. In the Dutch Women's League as well, they're playing Heerenveen. I'm wondering, what was your pre-match bet in this one?
I didn't look. I've eased off on my betting on the women's game. I mean, I can see it's 3-1, and the women's league is just full of goals. You'd always be backing the overs there. 3-1. I don't know. I mean, you were probably only getting about even money for over 3.5 goals. I'd say it was probably about 8-11 for over 3.5 goals.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
There wouldn't have been huge value, just even though it's a sizable scoreline. But yeah, I did one of our group bets with a 0-0 into women's Eredivisie, and I'm still convinced it's the only 0-0 that's happened in that league in about the last 3 seasons. So I wasn't too happy with that.
No.
I'm just looking at Inter. They've been dominating this game, and I'm just going to try and see what the odds are for another first half goal, because I just don't see it staying. Like, they're up 1-0, and it's only 15 minutes into the game. I'll be holding out for even money. I can't imagine it'll be even money yet for it to be for there to be a second first half goal here. Yeah, it's only 1.48 actually at the moment, so I don't think I've the stones to back 2 more first half goals, but I could definitely see them scoring another before halftime. So I'm going to keep an eye on these stats. They already scored too early for me when I was considering backing them at all. But yeah, if they go to maybe 25 minutes without scoring again, I might get on that.
Yeah, I'm on Inter to win to 0 pre-game anyway. So
that's a pretty decent shout. I mean, Salernitana haven't had a dangerous attack as far as Bet365 are telling me. They've had 27% of possession, and basically barely been out of their half. So it's certainly so far so good for that bet.
Yeah, and like they've really struggled against decent opposition too. And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago Enzo alerted me to it in his article on Sports Rundown.
He had 2 winners with teams against them, didn't he?
Juventus then the week after. I think it was Atalanta the first week, and then Juventus.
Was it Atalanta? I thought it was AC Milan, but I don't really remember that. I'd say you're probably right that it was Atalanta. Yeah.
Well, they probably played them all, because I know they've had a really tough run of fixtures. It makes you nearly feel bad for them because they can't score a goal. They even lost 1-0 to Genoa last week. But they had Juventus. Let me just see. No, it was probably Juventus first, and then AC Milan actually, and then they lost 4.
Maybe that was it. Yeah, there was definitely Juventus to win to 0.
In their last 8 games, they've only scored 1 goal. And that was a 1-1 draw with Calgary, who are down the bottom. They lost 1-0 to Napoli, 3-0 to Lazio, 2-0 to Sampdoria, 2-0 to Juventus, 2-0 to AC, 4-0 to Fiorentina, and 1-0 to Genoa, who will be down the bottom as well. So I don't see how they stay up, and I don't see how they score today. But keep.
It doesn't sound like good stats anyway. I was wondering. I was thinking. I went in. I was doing that over 2.5 goal Aka. I think it was like 1-3 or something. I was like, I've never seen that for an over 2.5 goals. So that kind of explains why now.
Yeah.
The Almere game is back on now. Almere Volendam. So for our treble that we've been discussing through the show, we need Volendam to win here. We did need both teams to score, and Almere have done that part for us. But now we need Volendam to equalise and go on and get a winner. I think they've already had a shot on target in the opening minute of this game, and they're on an attack here again. So, I mean, the stats at the moment are reading Volendam with 11 shots, 9 of them on target, and Almere have had just 2 shots and managed to get the lead despite having far fewer shots than.
Yeah, the fact that Volendam are still only like 11-4 to come back and win, even though they're a goal down, that gives me a good bit of confidence. Like, you know, so if they can get an early goal anywhere before kind of 60 minutes, if they get back into it, you know, you'd be looking at it as a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen them at 13-10 earlier in the week, and before kickoff they'd gone into evens. So, I mean, they were definitely, you know, overpriced, or certainly the bookies adjusted them downward before kickoff down to evens. And yeah, the fact that they're 11-4 down 1-0 shows that they do definitely have a good chance. And maybe there's an element of looking at how the game went in the first half there in terms of them, you know, dominating those shot statistics, 6 corners to 0. So yeah, they've had more of the attack, even though they're losing. But
yeah, I might actually flick in and try and watch that game now. If I can get a legal stream for it. You won't be doing anything illegal here on Sports One now.
The Dutch game, I mean, it could be hard found.
Yeah, it's not easy to get them, to be honest.
Yeah, because they have Den Haag and NAC Breda and Telstar and PSV, Young PSV on Betfair, but they're not showing the Volendam game, unfortunately. PK, I see there's a game in Spain. I was just wondering whether you had a look at that. You're normally a man for the Spanish accent.
No, it's the. Oh, sorry, it's Celta Vigo, right? They're 1-0 up against Espanyol already.
Already, are they?
Yeah, the 3rd minute goal from Mina. Honestly, some of these games, especially the Friday night games, where there's like, you know, evenly matched teams, it's hard to find an angle. I find now in Spain, a lot of low scoring games too.
I find that as well. Yeah, it's hard to get any juice because they can tend to be very low scoring.
I mean, Espanyol are really bad away from home, and Celta Vigo haven't been great at home either. So I mean, best of luck. Trying to find. I mean, Celta Vigo are second worst home team, and Espanyol are second worst away team. I mean, so I mean, your angle there is under 2.5, and that's not something I'd like to do. I mean,
and you'd be raging with that, given an early goal as well. But you're right; it probably was the most kind of obvious bet to go with.
Called what was the one we called Sevilla and Atletico Bilbao? A couple of weeks ago we were chatting about Slats.
Under 2.5 and a Sevilla win was a good call from Savage, our LaLiga expert. And yeah, it finished 1-0. Plus, I think they went up 1-0 after about half an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know you kind of would expect more goals, but you know, a goal going in relatively early in the game. But yeah, it just stayed 1-0 then and finished that. So
yeah, and it was like for under 2.5, I think it was 4-9 or something, or ridiculous. Like, so, I mean, you couldn't even. It was a tough one to play out. Atletico Bilbao were very much a defense first team, though. So if you're ever considering them for bets, especially at home, I mean, they're probably only going to concede one at most, no matter who they're playing.
Just on your Inter to win to 0 bet, PK. What odds did you get on that?
Oh, I think it was. I just did a single on an exchange account. I think it was like 1.7 ish.
Oh, really? It was significantly odds on.
Yeah. I think it was roughly 1.7.
No, just looking at the last few minutes here, Salernitana have had their first 3 attacks with 3 shots now, all off target, but they've certainly been having a go the last few minutes, so you'd be hoping for this little purple patch to come to an end.
Yeah, I suppose you can't go the whole game without soaking up a little bit of pressure. So
no, yeah, I mean, they're going to have a few shots for sure. The fact that they haven't hit the target with one might actually be a good sign, if anything, you know, that they're having their purple patch without causing too much trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, from my point of view, the longer it stays 1-0 to Inter, the better, really, because the least likely there to take their foot off the gas and concede a stupid goal. But I think Gary has it over 2. Oh no, he looked at it over 2.5. It was really stupidly odds on. So Yeah, I mean, I'm happy enough if it just stays 1-0 till the 88th minute, and then
I've one to keep an eye on here in the old women's football. This is the Belgium Super League women. Leuven are playing at home to White Star. Now, I don't have an iota of any form or anything going on in this game. All I'm going off is that Leuven are 1-20 to win. And, in the opening 10 minutes or so, they've had all the shots. They've had, 2/3 of the possession, 4 shots with one of them on target to 0 from White Star. They're still 1-3 for a halftime lead. And I do find value in those games where they're out to 1-22 now to win the match. It's almost a guarantee. You would think the vast majority of the time a team at that much odds on are going to be winning by halftime, often winning like 2 or 3-0 by halftime. So again, if White Star can just hold out for another 10 minutes or so, that 1-3 for a halftime result will move to around evens, and I might get on that, especially if the stats keep up. If they keep knocking on the door, plenty of attacks, shots on target and corners without that goal coming, I think you can kind of get a bit of value if you manage to get on at the right time. Now, chances are the goal is going to come too early here, but it's one I'm just going to keep an eye on. And if White Star can hold them out for another bit longer, might jump on that.
So I see there's been a yellow card in Almere Volendam, so a yellow card for Almere, which hopefully means that Volendam are still on top. Now, I think we could do it. It's 52nd minute now, so we could do it a Volendam goal pretty soon to get us back in the reckoning, and then we'll be able to cheer on a winner.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable enough for another 15 minutes. If they equalise before the 70th minute, that's usually my cutoff for giving up on a bet if they're losing and you need them to win. But yeah, again, like they've had 2 shots this half so far to 0 from Almere. But they need to start making these shots count and get that equaliser soon, like you're saying.
Yeah, and I can see that we have a few new viewers on YouTube, particularly. So, guys, if you're watching in for the first time, what we do here is we pick out a bet on a Thursday. We publish that on our website, sportsrundown.com. We back it, and then we give away the winnings live on air if the bet lands. So you'll see in the top right-hand corner of the screen, there's a bet listed there. It pays €188. So that's what we're going to be giving away today as the prize. So we need West Brom to win and over 1.5 goals. We need Kortrijk to win in the Belgian FDA. And we need Volendam to win and both teams to score in the Eerste Divisie. So obviously Almere have scored, so we need Volendam to come back. But if that bet lands, we'll be giving it away to someone who comments this evening. For the moment, Chris Burr is winning with his comment on YouTube because he's the only comment of the night. So if you want to get in with a chance of winning the bet, and I see Volendam have just scored, which means that the bet is very much on. If you want to get in to have a chance of winning that, drop us a comment. Comment can be anything, can be your bets, questions on betting, just a general comment on the football around Europe, and we'll call it out live on air once it has no profanities in it. And yeah, we'll get some conversation going. So make sure to keep dropping those comments in. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button as well.
This is a new thing, Gary, that we won't call out comments with profanities in it, is it?
Well,
I haven't heard that stipulation previously.
Well, like it's normally LB, so LB normally hosts the show, and he just be translating like Portuguese comments and Spanish comments and stuff. So I won't know what I'm calling out if people don't put it in English, but yeah, we'll try and keep it. It's a family show, so we'll try and keep it civil.
I'm not one for censorship either, Slats.
I'm just sitting around watching it. No,
that's what my family used to do anyway.
Isn't that
on a Friday night? Like,
is it not past the threshold now?
Listen, all right, come here, put the profanities in, so they'll call them out. You twisted my arm. Slats, you must be buzzing.
The
off
more
that
profane,
goal now,
the better.
So brings it back into.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Volendam are back to nearly evens now for the win. So, it's a 13-5 bet, and it's 13-10 now. So, there's obviously we've come closer toward the win, given the 1-1 scoreline, and definitely the momentum of this game. It should be in Volendam's favour. So I'd be before kickoff, I would have been delighted with 1-1 and Volendam dominating shot stats, and there's 7 corners to 0 and almost 2/3 of the possession. So yeah, very happy so far.
West Brom just missed a sitter.
I was just about to say I'm very happy with the way the West Brom game is going. Joe, they have been on top, but they need to start converting some of these chances, and that is an absolute sitter. So, what is he, 6 yards out? I suppose you could say it's a good save from the keeper, but 6 yards out, he tries to side foot it into the net instead of blasting it. Definitely should be scoring there.
That's the striker too, Hugel or whatever. He's only
Jordan Hugel, ex West Ham. You think it's on a plate for him.
That was a good block, though. The guy put his foot back behind himself and kind of backheeled it away, sort of.
Yeah, on first view, I thought it was the keeper, but it's actually a very good defensive clearance. But like the whole goal to aim for, you should be burying that as a striker. So
I don't know. Sorry, Gary, as well. If you noticed that Linfield went up 1-0 against Larne, I know you've that in a 30-1 ACA for over 2.5 goals. So I think. Yeah, I mean, you've the West Brom Barnsley game that you're speaking about there, and do you have LB's Belgium game in that as well?
Yeah, so I've the 3 games that we have in our ACA. So I have Almere, the Kortrijk game, and the West Brom game, all to over 2.5.
Okay,
and then I've
and the 2 Northern Ireland games.
Linfield. I see that like Larne, who Linfield are playing against, have been reduced to 10 men. So I don't know whether sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I would say that's a good thing now that they're down 1-0 because there's no point in them sitting back with 10 players. Now they kind of have to go for it, and they're going to be very vulnerable to conceding. If it's 0-0, you can find a team just trying and shut up. Thorn have just gone up 2-0, so you have another goal there in that.
That was actually a penalty that led to the red card as well and the goal. So in that game, just for clarity.
Yeah, so that bet is ticking along nicely for me. Could do with a few goals in the games that are just approaching half time. So the Kortrijk game, the West Brom game. If we could get a goal or 2 in those, it would very much be on, I'd say. So fingers crossed that can happen.
A game I'm keeping an eye on now is it's actually in the French Cup. Lyon are away to Paris FC, and they've gone 1-0 down pretty early on. But I'm looking, and Lyon have a very strong squad out. So I mean, I would be confident that they wouldn't, and stats are kind of in their favour so far. So I'll leave it till closer to half time. But I'd be confident of them getting something out of that game, although it is a cup game, which makes it a little dodgier.
Yeah, I hate backing on cup games myself. That's why we don't really do it on Sports Rundown. They can just be an absolute minefield. So, but as I said, if they have a strong team out, the reason I didn't look at that game, I assumed Lyon would put a weakened team out because there's a full schedule of League One fixtures in midweek. It's the last kind of schedule before the break. So I thought they might rest a few of their stars for that. But if you're saying that the first 11 looks good, let us know when you're getting on a PK, and I might tail you in.
Yeah, no, I just went through the team there because I was assuming they wouldn't have their strongest team out, but they seem to have a lot of their starters playing. Just went 2-0 Inter as well.
Oh, did it, Feck? I was keeping an eye on that one. This Leuven women's game, I'm not holding out for them to come close to evens to be winning at halftime. They're still 4-11, 2-5 now, 20 minutes in. So I've got a little greedy and backed over 1.5 first half goals. They've had 7 shots in the opening 20 minutes. Most of the possession, nearly all of the attacks. I definitely think they're going to be winning at halftime. I'm hoping that they're going to get 2 goals before halftime. So it was 6-4 for over 1.5 first half goals, which is definitely a little risky, but I just they're still so odds on for the halftime result. I just don't feel like waiting any longer. I just think a goal is coming here pretty soon, so I've gone for that. And yeah, I waited for Inter to drift twice, times, so I just don't want to do the same in this game. I think there's going to be a goal in the next 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll let you know. It's just 22. Oh, it's suspended. Goal. Leuven just scored.
Very nice. That is how you bet.
That was nice. Now I was saying I think there's going to be
if all bet would just be like that, huh?
I know. Can you imagine? I mean, I still need a second, and I'm still glad I didn't hold out on hoping they'd drift further for the halftime result, because that would have been frustrating now. So yeah, just one more goal there, and that'll pay off.
It's not every stream that has a Dutch and Belgian women's soccer expert on it. So I mean, we've quite a niche going on here. So if nothing else,
I just don't want to be misogynistic with my gambling. I have to be fair in the
that's
2021. You know,
it's absolutely fair too.
No discrimination.
To be fair, I said before that bet that I know absolutely nothing about either of those teams or the Belgian Women's League. But just when you have a home team at 1-22, you know, they're going to score goals early. They're going to be winning at half time. It's not going to be a tight match. Like,
no,
so
for sure.
I would, and when you look at the in-play and they're, you know, they are dominating the attacks and they're getting plenty of shots in, you know, it's only a matter of time. So you just got to.
I mean, I suppose it's just for me. It's when I'm looking around all these live games on, it's not one that catches my eye at any stage, but well spotted and well commentated too. Nicely done.
The timing was pretty nice.
Those instant hits, like.
I thought you were going to come out with disallowed again, but you managed to.
No, thankfully, it's so frustrating when that happens. Yeah, because the animation on all the betting sites will show the goal, you know, that it scored, and they'll say 1-0, and then it'll just kind of remain suspended and drop the goal off back to 0 again. So you can never be sure straight away. But no, that this game is back on and it's 1-0. The only risk now would be that they kind of sit on their lead a bit again, because I don't know anything about this team or this division. But it still seems unlikely that a team 1-22, you know, during the early stages of the game are going to take their foot off the gas. They're 1-100 now. And I guess, you know, White Star probably have to go for the bit themselves and try and get back into this match. They actually just had a shot themselves. White Star did there. So, yeah, that could work in my favour as well.
I need Bayern to pull the finger out for me against Wolfsburg. It's only 1-0 at half time, and it seems like a pretty uneventful first half as well in terms of chances. So,
remind us what you backed in that game, PK?
I did Bayern as a single low at -2.5, just because Wolfsburg have lost their last 6 in total, and Bayern are off the back of beating Stuttgart 5-0 away from home at the weekend or during the week.
So you need them to win by 3 goals.
Yep.
You wouldn't have. I mean, obviously the odds would have been much narrower, but you wouldn't have just gone for Munich to win and over 2.5, just in the off chance that Wolfsburg got a goal.
You probably should have looked at that market, yeah, but
well, I mean, it would have been much tighter. It's just a matter of, you know, I'm only saying it because I'm looking at the stats here, and Wolfsburg have had 5 shots with 2 on target. They're obviously been still, even with that amount of shots, they've been dominated by Munich. Have far less possession, have only had, you know, a handful of attacks themselves. But, you know, if they get on the score sheet, you're kind of dead and buried. But I mean, I guess that's all part of the odds you're getting. If you saw the value in Munich winning comfortably, then that's what to go for.
If you if they end up if it ends up 3-1, I'm just gonna probably just drop off. Just say bye. I'm not going to listen to you to saying you told me so.
Yeah. That's your favorite bet, though, Slats, like the over 2.5 on both teams to score.
Well, both teams to score. I don't think I'd be comfortable in that game. Munich win at home to 0 far too often to be risking both teams to score in that match. But I just think over 2.5. I mean, obviously over 2.5 would have been safer than Munich -2.5, because it allows for 2-1, 3-1, you know, 4-2, whereas, you know, PK's bet you need them to win cleanly by 3 goals. But, you know, we'll see how it goes.
I didn't I didn't go mad at it, obviously, but just a small bet because the form of both teams is so polar opposite too. Like, Wolfsburg have been diabolical lately, actually, to put it mildly. Speaking of diabolical in the German league too.
Sorry, PK, to interrupt you. Volendam have just gone up 2-1.
Oh, nice one.
Excellent. Yeah, this game. I was just about to say that Almere haven't had a shot since their goal, which was pretty early in the game, and it's been all Volendam since. So, this is looking great for our bet. We've backed.
Both teams to score and Volendam to win. I think he's having.
I wasn't sure whether it was me having the tech. His lads got too excited there, and I had some technical difficulties. But
but that sets up perfectly well. It's if it's finished now, it's obviously over, and I think my hedge at half time at even money for them double chances is locked in now. So I'm playing with free money in terms of that bet for the rest of the night. So
yeah, that's brilliant. It's put the cash out of our bet into the positive anyway. So I see we've had a few new viewers, especially on YouTube. So guys, if you're tuning in for the first time, just to shout out what we're doing here. So sportsrundown.com, we do this every Friday. It's our bet along. And essentially we back a treble every week. So the treble is in the top right hand corner of your screen. It's West Brom to win the championship and over 2.5 or over 1.5 goals in the game. Kortrijk to win in the Belgian FDA, and Volendam to win on both teams to score in the Eerste Divisie. So Volendam, we're 1-0 down. They've come back. They're 2-1 up. If they can hold out, that'll be that leg in. West Brom have been absolutely dominating in the championship game. They just can't get the ball in the back of the net, but I'd still be fairly confident in that leg coming in. And then Kortrijk is 0-0. So bet has a very good chance. At the end of the show, if the bet lands, we'll give it away to somebody who comments on the stream. So we've actually only had one entrant, which is fairly disappointing this evening. Normally we've a lot more than that, but we've one entrant who's Chris Burr on YouTube. So if you want to be in with a chance of challenging Chris for the €188, all you have to do is comment in on the stream. So let us know what you think of the stream. Let us know what bets you have on, any betting questions, general observations of football, whatever it might be. We're not picky. We just love the interaction. So send us in a comment. We'll call it out on the show, have a bit of a chat, and then you'll be entered in to win the cash if the bet lands. So get commenting.
I'm surprised we've made it into an hour of the show, and we haven't mentioned to any new viewers that 2 weeks ago this bet came in.
Yeah.
What was it? 46
to
1?
We forget.
45
46 to 1 came in for us, and we paid that out to one of our viewers. So it's not quite as much today, but it's still 180 odd euro for nothing. I mean, literally all you have to do is post a comment on YouTube and you're in with a shout. The more commenting, the better. If you give us let us know what you're betting on yourself and give us some good tips yourself, that'd certainly be a strong way to go about it to get in with a chance of winning. But
who wouldn't take 188 quid the week before Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we can send that over to you, whatever Revolut or bank transfer. All you have to do is comment and hope that these bets come in. Our Dutch game is looking pretty good with 20 minutes left. Volendam are winning 2-1. And like you were saying, Gary, West Brom are dominating that match there.
I can't believe that they haven't gone 1-0 up. They've had one cleared off the line. Well, like they've actually had two chances cleared off the line. They actually have a penalty shout here. I don't think it's been given, but I'm just looking to see it a little bit closer. It flicks it by. God, I've seen those given. If it was VAR, actually it's just outside the box, but it's definitely a foul. The ref seems to have given a free a goal kick, which is a strange decision there. But yeah, they've been literally all over Barnsley in this game. If they get one, I think they'll get 3 or 4, but it's just about breaking that deadlock. So still 4 minutes left before half time. Fingers crossed they can get one before the break.
And yeah, just to update on LB's bet, because that's coming into nearly half time now. it's into the first minute of 1 minute of injury time. It's still 0-0, and to be fair, it's looked like a fairly balanced game. Maybe Seraing have had a slight edge. We need Kortrijk to win this game. There's no goal markets added in. It's just a straight win. If they win 1-0 or any win at all will do us. So yeah, it's gone to half time. They're 0-0. Not much in it between the sides. So hopefully they can come out in the second half and dominate a bit and get a sneaky winner for us.
Yeah, but having watched the first half of this West Brom Barnsley game too, I think if it goes to half time like this, I'm going to find it very hard not to bet on West Brom to win still. They must be near even money now. I'm just going to have a look.
Yeah, I'm seeing them at 5-6 in Bet365. I would imagine if you went at them on the Betfair exchange, you'd be getting them at evens. But any of the sports books will have them priced pretty close to evens as well anyway. So
yeah, pretty much just I'm seeing 1.9 on an exchange here. So I mean, I'll be happy enough to take that because they've completely dominated, as Gary said, and I don't. I only see one team winning. It's either 0-0, I think, or 1-0 or 2-0 to West Brom.
Yeah, well, hopefully the 2-0 for our bet. But yeah, like it's actually disgusting that they're not at least a goal ahead because they've had such good chances. But they're getting into positions and not converting them. In fairness, Barnsley have kind of been pretty dogged in their defending, but with the chances that West Brom have had, you'd expect them to convert at least one of them by now.
The Belgian women's game that I bet on and timed nicely, I backed 2 first half goals and it went up 1-0 as soon as I was mentioning it. It's still 1-0. Leuven, who are the massively odds-on favourites, went up 1-0. They've had 4 shots off target since then. There's still over 10 minutes left until half time, so I'm still confident enough, but I was hoping that the second would come pretty soon after the first went in, so it's getting a little bit edgy. I'd say it's still probably, it's still around evens for another goal, and I got it at 6-4, so I'm still, looking decent enough on that bet, but it was looking like a sure thing when they went up 1-0. Now it's looking a little riskier. But yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes, or when I see a goal going in. Hopefully I do see a goal going in.
Yeah, sorry. Speaking of goals gone in, there's a suspension in Volendam, Almere.
Yeah,
so
it's gone 3-1 Volendam.
Yes,
brilliant.
That's
and I was going to mention a minute ago again that like Almere still didn't have another shot. They haven't had a shot since they went up 1-0, and even I thought after Volendam equalised, maybe they'd turn it on a bit again. And when Volendam went up 2-1, I was kind of like, all right, Almere have to go for it here, but they just haven't. They've, I don't know if their heads dropped or what, but it's difficult to see anything but a Volendam win there now, 3-1 with 15 minutes left. So hopefully that's that. Hopefully that's the first leg of our treble. Looking pretty good.
Up, and then the other two legs have just gone to half time. So we need a little bit. I suppose the dodgy leg is probably West Brom at the moment.
Just because we need the 2 goals there, yeah.
2 goals, yeah.
So you need West Brom to score twice. I mean, obviously, because 1-1 isn't gonna be enough for the win. So yeah, we need West Brom to come out and score and then push on and get another. What could be a little risky there is if they score late. Well, I mean, West Brom better, Gary. So I don't know. Is it a case that West Brom are likely to kick on when they go up 1-0, or might they end up sitting on that lead?
No, I think they'll kick on for sure. Their defense isn't that great, to be honest. Even though they're one of the top sides in the division, they can be a little bit like dodgy at the back in the games that I've seen anyway. So I would say that they'll continue to attack, but I would like if they go up before 60 minutes, I think it's a banker. The longer it edges on, obviously, it gets a little bit more dodgy. I see there's another suspension in Almere Volendam, so hopefully it's 4-1 and not back to 3-2.
No, 3-2 would be a little bit dodgy now, all right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's no longer suspended for me. Volendam.
Well, it's just a yellow card for Almere, so it must have been a bad challenge. But that's, you have to give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back. That's this week with 11-5 or 13-5, was it that the bet was, and you had a 3-1 in our 45-1
or 45-1. Yeah, I think it was
couple of weeks
it
ago.
was
So
in the Bundesliga, but I think it was a similar enough bet with an away win with both teams scoring. And
yeah, like there's some bets to be picking out. You know, it's hard enough to be picking an even money shot. Never mind things that are 5-2, 3-1. So fair play on that. Obviously, it needs 14 minutes to land, but it's some show from you again.
Yeah, well, what I'm more surprised with is that these teams, and I know one for your EFL ACO over the weekend, it's a team with like way ahead in the league, you know, a team up near the top versus a team mid-table or below, and they're even money or that sort of way for a win. And it was with Volendam today. They were like 13-10 just to win the game. They're top of the table and they're playing against a team battling relegation who have lost like 5 of their last 6 home games. I don't know where these odds come from, but you know, it just seemed crazy that Volendam were above evens for the win. I would have thought they would have been about 1-2, maybe a little even worse than that for the win, and that the win with both teams to score might have been around evens or 6-4 sort of way. So when you're getting 13-5 for it, it just seems as if it's priced wrong more than anything. It's not even having a kind of an insight. Oh shit! Now that I'm talking about it, Almere have gone up and scored. So it's 3-2 there, and I better shut up talking about it as if this bet is already.
No, that's not what we wanted.
No,
it's disallowed. There was us counting our cash.
I know. So yeah, I mean, there's 12 minutes left. One of them are still winning. But it's like Almere's third shot, and they've managed to get 2 goals out of it. Volendam have had 19 shots and got 3 goals, so it's a bit unfortunate the way that's going. But yeah, hopefully they can just hold out or either go up and snatch another one themselves and give us a bit more comfort again. I'm definitely going to not talk about it until it's over.
It's still suspended on my screen, so I'm like, what is actually going on? Volendam have gone from 1 to 100 to 1 to 8, so it's never a good sign.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the goal was given. It looks like it stands anyway. So yeah, it's definitely a little risky now. It was looking, and with these sort of trebles, like obviously if you had that as a single bet, once Volendam went into like 1 to 80 to win, you know, you could have been cashing out of that for the majority of your stake or the majority of your, potential return. But in the treble, you're kind of locked into it. We're not going to cash out of a treble just because the first bet is looking good. So
exactly, yeah, especially when the other two have a little bit of work to do. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't even be getting a great payoff. But I'm getting a bit nervy now because Almere are starting. Like that's obviously going to swing the momentum as well and give Almere a bit of confidence. They had done very little since going up 1-0, and Volendam had turned it around to 3-1. So
yeah, but listen, at this stage, I'd rather be a goal ahead than a goal behind. So, like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. If it was still 2-1 now, I'd be happy out. It's just that because they went up 3-1, you think, oh yeah, that's wrapped up. Just to mention as well, Leuven scored again, so that's gone 2-0. Hopefully, any of the viewers that were listening into my justification for that bet got on it. They didn't have a whole lot of time because it did go up 1-0 pretty soon after I got it on myself. But that's 2-0 now, so it was just a 6-4 shot. I was looking to back Leuven for a halftime lead, but they were 1-3 early in the game, and it only drifted to like 4-11 or 2-5 or something by 20 minutes in. So I just didn't have the patience to hold on for that, and they scored very soon after that anyway. So I thankfully made the right call by going with over 1.5 first half goals.
You say it so modestly that it was just a 6-4 shot. A lot of people would be happy to be able to just plug random 6-4 winners out. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I'm happy enough with it. And I would have taken it. To be honest, I would have taken that bet at evens as well. I was just looking for something above evens. So I was pretty happy to get that at 6-4. It was looking a little dodgy there for the last couple of minutes because the second goal only went in on 40 minutes. But I mean, given it was 0-0 after 20 minutes, it's not a bad turnaround either.
And just for viewers watching in, we have got the Eerste Division game on screen, but the supplier that we use has limited coverage of this game, so you're just going to see kind of stats flow back and forth. until there's any goal mount action. So unfortunately, nothing we can really do about that. But I think for our bet, we'd rather there be no more goal mount action. So
exactly,
if it doesn't appear there, then we'll be happy. So I don't know whether well, there's a little bit of a lull with the other games being at half time. We flick over and look at some of the bets for the weekend. So again, for any of the viewers watching in, we're going to have regular content up on the site over the weekend. So we cover the English Football League, we cover Ligue 1 in France, La Liga, obviously in Spain, Serie A, obviously in Italy. So we'll have articles up for all of the action throughout the season. And what we do on this show is just kind of run through some of the bets that have been picked out. So I might start off just with my English Football League article. So this is a 16-1 ACCA, so it's a fourfold. Blackburn versus Birmingham is the first leg. The Blackburn have been on a really, really good run. To come into the game, 4 back-to-back wins. They've won 7 of their last 9, pushed really up the table. So, about probably 6-7 weeks ago, they were down around 10th in the table. Now they're 4th. I think they're on a real roll. They're playing Birmingham, who haven't won or have only won 1 away from home in the last 9 away matches. So it's a 10-11 shot for a home win there. I'm going for that. And we've got Nottingham Forest versus Hull. So Forest had an absolutely horrendous start to the season. Couldn't win a game, changed managers, and since that they've only lost 1 of their last 15 games. So I fancy Forest to pull off another win on Saturday. They're playing against the Hull side, who are struggling down the bottom, but they've actually been on a fairly decent run recently. So on recent form, let's say you pick their last 6 games, you probably couldn't pick a winner, but I'm going kind of a good feeling here based on Forest just having a far better squad. The third leg is Plymouth versus Charlton. So these teams played a couple of weeks ago. Charlton won 2-0 at home. Plymouth are a lot better side at Home Park, which is their home ground. I think that Plymouth will score, but I can see Charlton winning it. So I've gone over 2.5 goals there, even though I was tempted by the Charlton price, which is around 17-10 for an away win. And then I have gone for an away win in the last leg. It's 17-10 as well. So it's Newport County away to Rochdale. Newport are 4th in the league. Rochdale are 18th. And I think this is the game you were referring to earlier on. So that's where you're
No, it's not. I'll talk about the game I was referring to, but you go ahead and give your stats on this one.
So yeah, Newport, they've been on a really good run of form. They beat Port Vale and Sutton in their last 2 games. They're some decent teams to be winning. Playing against a Rochdale side who are a little bit dogged at home. They've got 5 draws out of their 10 home games, but they've only won 2 of their 10 home games this season, and I think Newport are a far better side. So the 17-10 there rounds off the ACCA, so it's 16-1. Should set us up for the Christmas with a nice winner and boost the betting bank. So yeah, that's the ACCA for me at the weekend.
Yeah, I know you were saying, Newport are your nap of the weekend, 4th away to 18th, and I do like that. Like we've been speaking about a top team away to a bottom team, but it's the Blackburn game I can't get over. The stats that you've given up there, that Blackburn have 7 wins out of 9 at home, and Birmingham have 1 win out of 9 away. Like, it's just such a extreme difference. Like, Blackburn are winning almost every game. Birmingham have lost 5 out of 9 away, 3 draws, 1 win. And again, it's like Blackburn at home in 4th position, Birmingham away in 15th position. Blackburn are 10-1 or 10-11, sorry, 10-11 for the win. Like, it just
wish they were 10-1.
I'd be remortgaging the house. 10-11. I mean, like, if you're talking about a coin toss, you'd be going with Blackburn all day. If that's a 50-50, it just doesn't look like a 50-50 to me. It looks to me like Blackburn should be about 1-3 or something like that, I mean,
yeah, and that's what I expected, to be honest. That's especially Bournemouth are in 2nd place in the league. They've been very good this season, and Blackburn went and like comfortably beat them last week. They beat them 2-0 away from home.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. And even what you're saying about their form, like 4 wins back to back. And yeah, like you're saying, they're beating decent sides as well.
Exactly, and they haven't got many injuries either. So I do think, again, this is, I do get over kind of carried away with some of my bets sometimes and get, really confident the day before and like, this is definitely going to win. But if my gut feeling about Forest is right, I think the other three legs are bankers, to be honest. So yeah, I'm hoping that we'll be cheering home a 16-1 winner tomorrow. And for the guys watching in, if you want to see, because we flick back onto the Almere match, you don't want me rabbiting on about EFL when we're about to hopefully land the first leg of our treble. But if you want to read some more of the logic there, if you want the sportsrundown.com, you'll see the article there. It's called "Build Up Your Christmas Bank" with this 16-1 ACA. So if you are backing it, best of luck. But I'll definitely be on it. Actually, I'm already on it at the minute. So depending on how tonight goes, I might top up on it overnight as well.
Yeah, it looks great to me. I'll definitely be getting on it. I already have FOMO that I'm not on it yet. Just that I think some of those odds are going to change. We've a few more articles up on the site, and I'll just run through a couple of them very briefly. The first is our Serie A article. Enzo, who's our Serie A expert, has a few tips up there. So he's 3 tips. Enzo doesn't tend to combine these into an accumulator. He prefers just to stick with the single markets, but they're all well above even money. So they're definitely worth getting on individually. If you did fancy your chances, combining them would be a pretty hefty payout of a treble as well. So his first is Matteo Destro, anytime goal scorer in the Lazio Genoa game. 11-4 just seems mad based on Destro's stats. And again, if you jump into Enzo's article up on the website, you'll see exactly why. Fiorentina Sassuolo, he's gone for over 3.5 goals at 13-8, and again, it's well justified in his write-up if anybody wants to see why, but it definitely seems like a worthwhile bet there. I mean, I think it's come in and the majority of each team's games over the last 5 or 6 matches, and they're facing each other now, so you'd expect goals to be flying. And then the third is the draw in the Milan-Napoli game at 5-2, and it's just 2 teams that up the top end of the table, but they've both had a poor run of form lately, and I think it's rather than just the fact that they're evenly matched, Enzo's gone with the logic that neither side is going to want to cough up a defeat, so they'll probably be a little cagey. The draw seems a good result. I think any draw above 2-1 with teams evenly matched is always worth considering. But the logic there for them that they've had a few losses lately and they won't want to fall any further down the table definitely justifies the draw. And then just very briefly, our other European League expert is Niall Savage on the La Liga. He really knows his stuff with that, and he has 2 bets up that just the 2 of them pay out a 17-4 double, so nearly 4-1. The first is Sevilla to win there at home to Atletico Madrid. He called out a great win for them last week. He backed them to win away and under 2.5 goals, and they won 1-0. So I fancy him to have a bit of an insight here to this game as well. 9-5 looks pretty good. Again, the article is up on the site if anybody wants to check it out. And the second match is Bilbao versus Betis, both teams to score at 20-23. So close to even, slightly odds on, but it seems a very likely outcome if you read up Savage's stats on that and take a look at yourself. So there's plenty of bets to choose from there between those 3 leagues. We'll probably have a League One article up before the games kick off over the weekend there, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And yeah, they're all available on sportsrundown.com, so it's worth checking out.
Just to correct you on that, we actually won't have a League One article this weekend because it's the Cup. So
okay, fair enough.
There's a midweek schedule next Wednesday, I believe, so we'll have a League One for that and a Serie A, so that's nice. A couple of days before Christmas to end the football, and then the European leagues take their kind of winter break, and it'll be all EFL action all on my shoulders. So no League One this weekend. We're into the 90th minute in Volendam, Almere City. So fingers crossed, Volendam can see this one out. Again, we've got that back on screen, but you won't see the pitch because of the interrupted feed from the source we're using. But fingers crossed that can land. If it does land, we're 3 goals away from bagging this nearly 18-1 bet. So we'll be looking for 2 goals from West Brom and 1 goal from Kortrijk in the Belgian FTA. So fingers crossed, Volendam can keep this going, and you'll have a massive pat on the backs, lads.
Yeah, I'm stressed out. There's 4 minutes of injury time. It's just that I can see Almere on the attack here, so
you're never good when you see dangerous attack. No,
I hate it. And it was just at that stage where Bet365 start reducing their markets, and it kind of looks similar to when a market goes suspended. So it just dropped all these markets as they were on the attack. It'd be sickening now, given Volendam had a 3-1 lead on around 70 minutes. If they did cough that up, it'd be pretty disappointing. But yeah, we've about 2 minutes of injury time left, so hopefully Almere can hold out. The other games have kicked back off. I can see the West Brom game has just started in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So we need West Brom and over 1.5 there. And then the third in our treble is in the Belgian FDA, Kortrijk to win away to Seraing. So that's just 50 minutes gone. It's still 0-0, which is fine, really. It looks like a fairly balanced game. So it could easily finish 1-0 to either side. So we're just hoping for a bit of luck that it's Kortrijk get the goal there and maybe get the win.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, if you are watching in for the first time, we back this. So we do a thing, it's called We Bet You Win. So we've bet on the treble that's on screen. If you want to win the cash, so if this bet lands, we'll be giving away €188 to a viewer that comments in. At the minute, we've only had 1 entry tonight, and that was Chris Burr, who is going against Kortrijk and saying that they're a Serie win. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning the cash, get commenting into the YouTube comments. Can be anything you want to say, betting related, football related, slagging one of us off, but you need to comment in.
You're not going to win if it's a slag.
So, yeah, normally it's people slagging off my tan, as they call it, but perhaps a winter in London, I don't have a tan.
When you say normally, that's normally not who we'd be picking as a winner. That's just a standard comment that we get in. But the more constructive comment, and particularly if you're giving us some betting advice yourself or some tip or something you fancy, that'd always favour my vote for who's going to come away with the money.
Yeah, but get the comments in anyway, and we you'll be in the pot for the big win. So that must be nearly time up in Almere. Volendam.
It's Almere City on a dangerous attack, and it's 8 seconds left of injury time. So you'd imagine this dangerous attack should be their last. Yeah, full time.
Nice.
So that's in 3-2. A bit of a stress there toward the end, since we had a comfortable 2-goal cushion for a while, and Almere got back to 3-2. But that was a 13-5 shot for Volendam to win and both teams to score, and it's very much justified there now with a 3-2 full-time result. And, considering Volendam had 19 shots, 15 on target, it certainly could have been a bigger win, but we got what we needed, and hopefully the other 2 games can go our way. I think what we're really hoping for, Gary, is a goal in the Barnsley-West Brom game. Even if it's Barnsley, because we need West Brom to score twice for over 1.5 match goals. What would you think? I think even if Barnsley did score, at least it forces West Brom into, going for it then.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a massive negative. Obviously, I don't think it's ideal. It wouldn't be what I'd be looking for, but yeah.
I just mean that rather than it staying. Oh, sweet.
Kortrijk have scored. So yeah, a West Brom goal now would spice things up considerably. And they have started, like, the second half has started in the same vein as the first. So West Brom have been kind of on the attack since the whistle has blown. They have a throw in now at around the 18-yard box. So what I'll do is I will get that game on screen now that the other game has gone full time. We'll rotate between Barnsley, West Brom, and the Seraing Kortrijk game. So you guys should be seeing the championship fixture on screen now. And as I said, we're cheering on a West Brom win and over 1.5 goals. So there's a lot of pressure on me now in my selection. None of yourself and LB of selections that are doing well. Again, like a corner here it was a long throw in for West Brom. Ball broke in the box at about the penalty spot. Trying to count the amount of Barnsley players, but I think every Barnsley player, actually no, 10 men they had in the box. So they had 10 men in the 18-yard box, and the vast majority of them were like trying to get in the way of blocking the shot. So that just shows you how on top West Brom have been for most of this game. It'll be an absolute travesty if they don't win first off, but be very disappointed if the over 2 or over 1.5 doesn't come in as well.
Yeah, they've really been on top. They're looking at it. Yeah, like Bet365 are showing all the dangerous attacks. Obviously, you've been watching that one, and you get a far better picture when you're watching the game rather than when you're just trying to decipher it from the stats. But the stats definitely back up what you're saying anyway.
Yeah, but the mad thing is the stats wouldn't have backed up how dominant they were in the first half, I don't think, because there was 2 shots that were given as not being on target, but they were goal mouth clearances with the keeper behind the player.
Yeah, that can always be deceptive. Or I find as well, if there's a shot off the post or crossbar that has the keeper well beaten, and it's, the stats are just showing it as a shot off target, but obviously it's much closer than that,
Exactly, yeah. So I can see something has gone suspended, but I'm not too sure what.
Well, I'm not seeing the Kortrijk game suspended. It's probably too late for it to be updating on the Dutch game. I mean, that's well.
No, I think it was just Betfair having a meltdown, to be honest. So.
Yeah, well, I saw the cash out on the bet was well in the green anyway at the moment. They obviously think, we're obviously more likely for it to come off than we were before kickoff.
Oh, we're significantly in the green. Yeah, sure. We have Kortrijk winning, and we have the other leg banked. So it's definitely in our favor anyway.
And that Belgium game, it has the feel of a game that could just finish 1-0. Like whoever was going to score would be the winner. So, it's great.
Well, LB did point out as well that Kortrijk have one of the best defenses.
In the league, yeah.
So that's a good confidence boost. I said I wouldn't be massively familiar with the Belgian FDA.
No, exactly, yeah. And Seraing have only had 1 shot on target, so they're obviously not giving them a whole lot of opportunity there. Like, so yeah, God, I'm just mad eager for West Brom to get on the score sheet now. It'd be great.
Yeah,
plenty of time. Like, if they score again, 70 minutes is usually my point where I start getting worried. So we still have another 15 minutes or so. If they were up 1-0 before 70 minutes, there's plenty of time left there. Barnsley probably have to take a few risks and open themselves up to a counter-attack.
Yeah, the worry is that Barnsley have actually started playing in the last couple of minutes. It's probably their best period of the game here. They had a free kick that the defender did well to clear, and then they've had another free kick where they just chipped it over the back line, and the striker was inches away at getting on the end of it. I think if he had gotten the end of it, it would have been probably a goal. It's one of those that the keeper would have been stranded.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that doesn't continue. But West Brom have broke down the other end and given away a free kick now. So fingers crossed they can get back on top. Still, I'm not giving up on them. I think we're in a very good position, but obviously needing those 2 goals is the fearing point.
I might be getting a bit greedy on this Leuven women's game, the Belgian women's game, Leuven at home to White Star, because I won that in-play bet of backing over 1.5 first half goals. They had 17 shots with 6 on target. They're 1 to 500 for the win now with a 2-goal lead. The total goals line is 4.5.
Boom! Sorry, Kortrijk have gone 2-0 up.
Oh, sweet. I was hoping you were going to be saying West Brom, but
no. Well, so was I. But take any goal
we'll take that for sure. That's great. Jesus, yeah, it'd be a surprise now to see Kortrijk throwing it away from there, given Seraing need to score twice and they've only had 1 shot on target in the first 60 minutes. So yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look at our cash out at the moment. Yeah, it's about 4-1. They're paying us out. Or sorry, 3-1. They're paying us out at the moment.
Which you wouldn't be taking at this stage, but
you couldn't. No, you couldn't take it. Yeah, 30 quid instead of a potential 180, 190. Now, if West Brom got one, there might be a reasonable cash out.
Yeah, if West Brom get one, I'd say we're in business. Like, again, the last kind of 7 minutes or so has just been Barnsley's best period of the game. But again, that could work in our favor because it might lure them into a little bit of a false sense of security.
Well, yeah, I mean, one way or another, we want an open game. We don't want either of these teams starting to settle for a 0-0 draw. So I'd be quite happy for Barnsley to be pushing on. It'll, make them more vulnerable at the back. And, 0-0 is no good to us. So we just want action here, and hopefully it goes West Brom's way. The fact that West Brom are still evens just for a win, shows you the way the bookies are feeling about this.
Yeah, and just to make me feel better about this, a friend of mine just texted me a screenshot of his bet. So he had our treble with his own. I think he backed Bayern Munich on over 2.5 goals, and he just sent me a helpful text saying, "Just you letting me down." So if ever with pressure building, it's now. So fingers crossed we can get.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, because BK dropped off there, but he had an in-play call, or maybe it was even pre-game. He had backed Bayern Munich minus 2.5 goals, so he needed.
Yeah, that was pre-game. Yeah.
Yeah, so he needs them to win by 3 or more, and I was kind of suggesting that they were only up 1-0 at half time, and I was kind of thinking if Wolfsburg did get in the score sheet, they had 7 or 8 shots themselves. It could be a bit of a killer back in that minus 2.5. But yeah, it's looking good from now, which is great. 73 minutes, they're up 3-0. You'd still think they're more likely to score again if anyone's going to score again. But even if it stays this way, PK has that in the bag. So he might be joining us again a little later. But
I think he'll be back on. He just did a drop for a short while, but he'll be back on. We can chat to him about that. To guaranteed win. Well, I suppose not guaranteed because if they concede, it'll knock them. But
it's looking pretty good. Did he say he had it as part of an accumulator or something?
Speaking of devil, he's back.
Oh, there he is, showing up to gloat. It's not a gloat yet. Have you seen Munich PK? They're up 3-0.
I just seen it now because I've had some technical difficulties. And I seen Kortrijk are 2-0 up. Which just leaves Gary's leg of the bet. I would have thought at this stage.
Yeah, so we're cruising at the minute, apart from my leg, which is letting the team down. So just looked at it there. So it's a 3.5 to 1, about 7-2 shot for the double of West Brom to win and over 1.5 goals. So the more that ticks up, it'll be bad for us, but fingers crossed West Brom can score relatively soon. They're evens for the win now, PK. So I know you were looking for them to drift out to a price like that. Are you interested in having a punt off it?
I'm just curious. I haven't seen anything due to the issues I've had. But how has the second half been going? I'm watching it now again, and West Brom have a corner here, and they just seem to be well on top.
So. There was a 6 or 7 minute period. So the second half started and West Brom were on top. Then Barnsley had a good few chances, and then it went back to being more West Brom. So they haven't been as dominant as the first half, but still fairly dominant.
Yeah, well, in that case, I'm happy to get on. I have. Obviously I've my Inter and my Bayern bets are looking good, although a 1 goal from either side, and that could ruin it on me, but or either opposition. And I see Lyon came back to 1-1 as well now, actually.
Yeah, I think they scored just before halftime. I was waiting for it to get to halftime to have the bet, and I think they scored just before halftime.
Just one other thing, PK, or well, maybe I shouldn't say it. No, Celta Vigo just went up 2-0. I was just going to say that you would call that about, that you would have expected under 2.5 there. I was just going to say there was an early goal and it got all the way to halftime with only 1 more shot on target. That it was actually looking, it was like 8-13 for under 2.5, but Celta Vigo just scored again. So
I was literally just going to mention that. So obviously, I think a lesson from that is that bad home form trumps bad away form, doesn't it?
I don't know if I would say there's any level of consistency to that.
No.
I think bad form by two teams just makes a game very difficult to call, because one of them can play slightly better than they have been and the other continue to play poorly, and the slightly improved team is going to get the win.
Yeah, and I mean, like as I said at the beginning of that game, like it was impossible to call. Like if you were looking at that game, I don't know. Gary asked me about it, but I couldn't see a bet anywhere. Not that I know too much about either teams, but just looking at the high level stats, I couldn't see anything that would tempt me at all. Also looking now at the Linfield Larne game, that's still 1-0. I wonder what the price of that is for the 1.5.
There's a red card in it, so I would just avoid it, to be honest. I know, Gary, you were on it before the red card, and it's still looking all right. It's looking all right if you kind of expect that Larne have to go for it even with 10 men, unless they're just going to try damage limitation and just accept a 1-0 loss. But I wouldn't be getting on it now, even though a goal will probably go in as soon as I finish this sentence. But I wouldn't be getting on a game where there's already a red card in it. It just makes it very difficult to call. You kind of lose a lot of value, I think, when there's a red card.
Yeah, they can be dodgy, and overall, I think West Brom are going to let that leg down as well, because they have over 2.5 in that 30-1 shot as well. So, like, one thing looking for 2 goals in our bet, but looking for 3 goals at this stage is probably a lot to ask. So,
yeah, it's
although that's it, like I still can't believe it. PK, you saw in the first half the chances that were cleared off the line, and like every time West Brom go forward, they look like scoring here, but it's just Barnsley are sticking 7, 8, 9 people in the box, and getting blocks from all angles. So they've just managed to kind of foil every attack at the minute. Really need a goal in the next 5 minutes, I think, if this bet is to land. Although
I mean, it's 63 minutes now, so I'm again going to put my faith in it until the 70th minute. But if they're not up 1-0 by 70 minutes, I won't have any expectation of the win. They're still 13-10 just to win the game, which is kind of mad for a game like an away team 0-0. After
that's how on top.
Minutes.
I think that's indicative of how on top they've been.
Yeah, we were saying that. Yeah, just before you came back online, that they were still around evens when I was saying it, and it just does go to show, like you're saying there yourself, PK, just indicative of how the game has gone so far. So that definitely should give us some bit of hope.
I've jumped on them at that price to win now, just for a small bet, but it's another cover of the accumulator, I suppose. I think that getting on Volendam at half time already covered the stake of my accumulator, but this one, if West Brom just win 1-0, you still win money. Still have my Bayern bet and my Inter bet in play as well, so I have enough money spread at the moment. Time to go looking for more, I'd say.
I'm getting a bit greedy now on my women's Belgian football, so I won with over 1.5 first half goals, and I'm just putting my profit from that, which was only €15. I just did a tenner at 6-4, but I'm putting 15 on to win 17 profit for 3 second half goals. So, I'll break even on this match if it doesn't happen. They've had already in the first 5 minutes of the second half, they've had 4 or 5 shots. But
like,
it's a bit ambitious. Seeing as I'm pretty much relying on one team to score all 3 of those second half goals, it might be a little. It's just a greed bet, really. They won me for the first half, so I'm keeping the faith.
I'd say it's highly likely. Generally, when teams are so dominant against another one, you tend to wear down the other team, right?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, they could just start running away with it. It'd be great if White Star managed to get on the score sheet as well, but they've had 1 shot off target in 52 minutes, so I'm not expecting much there. But yeah, hopefully I can pull that off, and I'll have turned a decent profit from women's Belgian football. It might be the first time I've ever bet on women's Belgian football.
Don't be pulling that card, Slash. We don't know.
Yeah, But you'll become addicted to it now. It'll be the core content.
Oh,
of
it'll be every
Friday
week. I'll be
betting now, so
looking for it. Yeah, it was like that for a while with the Dutch women's, but kind of went off that then.
I'm actually so frustrated with this now. Like, it's just attack after attack, corner after corner for West Brom, and they just can't get the ball in the back of the net.
no.
What's annoying, Gary, what I was thinking about as well is, like, obviously we had the 45-1 winner 2 weeks ago, and then last week me and LB's bets both went awry and yours came in, and then this week it's looking like me and LB's bets are going to come in and yours might be the one letting it down, and it's just that thing of the timing of getting all the correct calls together.
Yeah, that's it.
Can be tricky.
But the confidence from last week is that, you know, my bet wasn't landing until, like, I think there was an 89th minute goal and
Very
a 94th
late, yeah.
minute penalty. So, you know, when you're just waiting on goals, anything can happen. So,
absolutely, yeah. And you often see that when a team score, it just kills the other team when they score a second very soon after it. So
that's it. Like, Barnsley are defending, like, in such numbers here. They're putting their bodies on the line, things like that.
yeah.
If they concede, you have to think they get disheartened. And
and plus they have to go for it. They have to take a few more risks. They can't just park the bus, like, so.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we just need that one goal. It is starting to get a bit late now, 67 minutes. I was saying I usually lose a bit of hope once it hits 70 minutes. So
yeah, my hope is kind of evaporating as well. But just like, if I wasn't watching the game, I'd probably be giving it no chance. But the fact that they've just been so dominant,
yeah,
that's what's keeping me going here. They still have Hugel on, and they still have Callum Robinson on as well. Robinson has actually got a shot on target, which is nice. So that brings
Keeper made a great save.
that bet that I had on as well a little bit into play. Although I think it doesn't. I needed over 2.5 goals, and that's so it's actually dead. But I had Robinson 2 shots on target, over 10.5 corners, and over 2.5 goals. So the Robinson has 1 shot on target, which, again, I can't believe he didn't score with. And there's been 11 corners, so there is a few goals late. It could be a profitable night for me. But
yeah, well, if West Brom do get those 2 goals we need, it could definitely be Robinson getting on the score sheet. Like,
Live and women scored.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so that's one of the 3 second half goals I need, which came pretty early. In fairness, like, I only backed it after 50 minutes, and it's 55 minutes gone now. So if they keep this up, it'll be in nice and early for me. I guess the only risk there is just that they kind of take the foot off the gas and sit back. They obviously have the game won already. There's not even odds available for the win at this stage. But yeah, it's 1-2 now for over 4.5 goals, where it was a little over evens when I backed it. So looking pretty good there now.
Nice. That's what you want.
Yeah, and just to mention as well that LB's pick Kortrijk are still winning 2-0. A little under 20 minutes left in that game. Seraing have still only had 1 shot on target, and as we mentioned that LB put in the article, Kortrijk have one of the best defenses in the league, which was part of the justification for the bet. So that's looking very good. Obviously, a little earlier, my pick, the Volendam win with both teams to score, came in 3-2 in the end. I don't know if you saw that. It was 3-1 PK after 70 minutes, and then Almere came back 3-2. Like, Almere only had 3 shots in the whole game, and 2 of them were goals. So it was a bit stressful there toward the end, worrying that Almere might go up and get an equaliser, having been down by 2. But it didn't happen. Volendam held on for the 3-2 win, so that was great.
I hate letting the bet down. Like, it's so frustrating. That's
the nature
I was a little happy last week because it was my bet was the first one. I often go with the Dutch 2 and it kicks off at 7 compared to your 7:45 kickoff. So it can be nice on nights like this that I have a winner in and just waiting, hoping the ears will come in.
Yeah, that's it. Especially 5-2 winner, or what was it, 13-5, something like that.
13-5, yeah.
But it's there's still 20 minutes left here. Like, anything could happen.
I know, but we need that 1 goal, and it's just not coming, which is so annoying as well. Just because I'm watching it here and they've been so dominant, but we won't give up hope just yet.
No, not just yet. 4-0 live in women too.
Yeah. And so I
Jesus,
just see a
that's
few viewers on YouTube. So if you've just joined us and you've never watched the show before, what we do is we pick out a travel before the game, publish it on our website with the full reasoning, and then we cheer it on live on here. So the first leg has landed, which was
Volendam.
Volendam and both teams to score. The second leg is 2-0 up, which is Kortrijk to win in the Belgian FTA. And then the third leg is actually letting the side down at the moment, and that's West Brom to win on both, or over 2.5, or over 1.5 goals.
Over 1.5, yeah.
So that's €188 if the bet does land. So if West Brom can get 2 goals in the next 20 minutes, we'll win €188. We're going to give that out live on air. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning, all you have to do is comment in the comments on YouTube or Twitter. We're normally on Facebook, where we've upwards of 1,700 views and quite a lot of comments. So we're not on Facebook today due to technical issues. If you're on YouTube, you've got a massive chance of winning it. So, get a comment in there. It can be anything from your bets to comments on football generally, or, asking for betting advice or whatever it might be from us. But any comments will be entered in, and we'll call out the winner at the end of the show.
We also do plenty of in-play bets through the show, and one of the ones that I just had mentioned there a short while ago. So around 50 minutes into the Leuven v White Star Belgian women's game, I backed for over 2.5 goals in the second half, and there was goals in the 54th, 57th, and 59th minutes. So that one has walked in very comfortably.
Surely you're going over 6.5 or 7.5 now.
I'm going to leave it at that. The 6.5 is only 1 to 2. So as well for yours, PK, Bayern Munich are up 4-0. So even if they concede now, you're still
that one's in. That one's in the bag, and I'm hoping.
So PK, remind us of the rest of that accumulator. So you backed Volendam to win. Was that? Oh no, sorry, that was, you were saying just covered the stake.
I don't do, like, I did the accum, the one here for the thing, but mostly I just do singles now on the exchange.
Okay, so it was just a single for Munich to win and over, Munich minus 2.5, so they had to win by 3 goals or more.
Yeah, so it was like 6-4. That's how that's how little value there was in backing Bayern today. That the minus 2.5 only got you 6-4.
In fairness, it was only 1-0 at halftime, but it's still come in pretty comfortably for you. It's the 90th minute now, and they're up 4-0, so there's no way you're not winning that.
And Inter was only 1.7, whatever else.
To win to 0, yeah. In fairness, Salernitana had a couple of chances early on, but it doesn't look as if they've had any more. And you'd imagine, their confidence is obviously low at the moment, barely getting a goal in their last 7 or 8 games. So, been down 3-0. You wouldn't expect them to be going up and scoring. Hopefully not, anyway.
And Lyon I missed, but I don't think they ever got to the price I would have been looking for anyway. I'm going to have another look now. I didn't check it since. I'm going to see what price they are now. In terms of that game, because I don't see much else. West Brom, an open goal, a defender. Did you see this, Gary?
Are you? No, I think I was a bit behind, PK.
You're going to lose it when you see this.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's just coming up now.
Oh my god!
At least you won't get your hopes up.
Oh my god!
The defender literally gets a toe to it, like literally a toenail to it. He's sliding back, and there's an open goal, and he gets a toenail to put it wide. Great defending. God. That's all I'll say about that. Is great defending, but
that's the third kind of goal mouth clearance that they've had, where like the ball's going into the net and they've managed to get on it. And even if oh my god,
you have to feel like it's got 0-0 written all over it now, right?
Yeah, I'm tempted to back West Brom, but I've lost too much money on them already this evening, so I don't know whether I can justify losing more on them. But that should have been a goal. So you can't really blame the striker there. It's just great defending.
It's unbelievable defending. In fairness, I'm not, after watching another replay, and how he gets to it is just, the effort is, you can't fault it. It's 1.7 for Lyon. Lyon fairly dominated the second half of that first half. don't know. I don't think the value's there yet. I think I'll let it run till it gets to evens. 4-0 Inter as well. So that one, well, that still only hinges on them not conceding. Actually.
Yeah, that the goals they score doesn't really matter. You just need the clean sheet at this stage.
As I said, this is like when you're watching NFL and we call it garbage time scores. They're 4-0 up now. There's likelihood that they'll just lose concentration and concede an absolute crap goal from a corner or something.
You'd probably be happier if they were just sitting on a 1-0 lead, all right?
Yeah, exactly. But this is the one. This would have been a better one for me to go minus 2.5 on, because it probably would have been more value than this too.
God, I'm glad. I was very close to putting the Glentoran v Glenavon game into our treble instead of the Volendam win. I was going to go for both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. And it's 2-0 to Glentoran still. Glenavon haven't even had a shot on target. So I'm glad I avoided that. It was only even money for it to come in. I ended up going with the juice, the 13-5 shot instead of it. And there's like 8 minutes left. But the fact that Glenavon haven't had a shot on target, it's looking a bit dodgy there now.
Yeah, it's the only in-play value I can see is maybe Leon, but I'm wanting to wait till even money, to be honest with you.
There's not a huge amount of games on really at the moment. Sure, there's not there. I mean, there's a lot that are well into the second half. There's a game in the Portugal Premier League that just kicked off. Might have a look at that. Estoril 6-5. Might hop in and look at a few stats there. I don't know, is there anything kind of late enough now? I know they're your the PK specials or the second half teams coming from behind to draw or to win. I don't know if you spotted anything in those sorts of markets, PK.
No, just Leon is the one that I'm seeing most of there. That Portugal game is there too, but it's not two teams I know anything about, to be perfectly honest with you.
Same here. I'm just looking that they're not strong favourites, but they're 6-5 Estoril, so there's potential there that they could kind of start dominating that game a bit, I guess. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on the stats.
Well, again, I'm very tempted now to go in on West Brom. They're 23-10 here. But again, it's just to be some kick in the teeth if I lose more cash on them. So
yeah, I mean, I think you were saying at PK when you've got defenders, just getting the toe in front of the ball like that, you kind of feel like maybe it's just not West Brom's night, even though they deserve to win or they've dominated so much.
Spanish second division, Girona against Burgos. No, I can't see anything there. No, there's no angle in that one.
It's just all down to West Brom here now. Come on.
That's what I'm thinking, is just concentrate on this West Brom game and hopefully Inter don't concede, and that's about all I have. Slats is over 7.5 in the women's game. We'll keep an eye on that too.
I'm glad I didn't. It's still 5-0.
Still 5-0 with only 65 minutes gone.
True.
If even. 66, yeah. But I suppose we're just sitting here praying for West Brom goal as soon as possible, and then a last minute penalty, which knowing the stream's luck, they'd probably miss anyway. But
at least you'd be able to cash out then.
Well, we could probably back them to miss the penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's the usual odds for that? About 15-2 or 6-1 or whatever?
No, 3-1.
To miss a penalty?
Yeah.
But they're yes, I think we've talked about this before. But they're usually 1-7 to win it or to score it, right?
2-9 to score. This is just Bet365. Every game, every division. I've never seen it diverge.
I would have thought it was way lower than that. 2-9 seems pretty generous.
Given the amount of penalty misses we've seen live on air, it must be in the 20s at this stage over the last year. Just live on this show. I'm really surprised it's as wide as 3-1 for the miss.
Yeah.
I don't know, is it a little strange that it doesn't seem to diverge from that at all? So I wonder if it's. I don't even know who's the top penalty taker out there at the moment statistically. Like, I know Salah's had a decent enough run of penalty takes, I think.
Probably used to be Jorginho, but he missed one or two.
Yeah,
Sure,
Coutinho used to be rock solid, but ever since the Euros missed, he's been a bit dodgy. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Is there anyone out there who just, it's almost a guaranteed goal once they get a penalty these days? But I'd like to see if Bet365 do adjust their odds for a kind of a player like that, or is it just still always 3-1 for the miss and 2-9 for the score?
I don't think Bruno Fernandes ever missed one at Sporting, was it? Isn't that where he came from? I don't think he ever missed one there, and I think he scored his first 5 or 6 with United, but then I think he missed one at the beginning of this season too.
Yeah, he did. He's missed a few for Fernandes.
Yeah, I don't think he ever missed one for Sport. Now, I could be wrong. I'm happy enough for someone to correct me on that, but
yeah, if anyone's watching and they have any insight into recent time solid penalty takers with very good stats, let us know. None spring to mind for me, because even Ronaldo, like, who kind of insists on taking the penalties wherever he goes, he's not that, like, he does miss from time to time, doesn't he? And Messi misses plenty of penalties as well.
Yeah. So Bruno
West Brom have been missing plenty of chances here anyway. So
I was just going to say another shot off target for West Brom there.
Yeah.
11 shots off target, 1 on target. It just isn't their night.
I think those stats must be wrong, those stats, because they definitely had more than 1 on target.
Oh, they could be, yeah. These stats, this is Bet365. They are not the most reliable. They kind of give a good indication of how a match is going, but yeah, they could have a couple more on target there for sure. They kind of they consider a blocked shot as a shot off target. So
right.
Yeah, so if a defender's just thrown his body in the way, it's, even if it was going to be going goalward, it doesn't count. So, but yeah, like, these shot stats are available on most of the bookies' websites, and we see a significant enough disparity between Bet365 and Betfair, what they show for shots on target, shots off target. So it's not the most reliable information, which is surprising because I always just thought they would all source their information from the same company. Like,
yeah, so did I. And I think
whatever,
they do for settling bets, but maybe not in play.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, just the in-play updates aren't that reliable. Yeah.
West Brom are out to 31-10 now to win the game. It's 14-1 for over 1.5. So it's 28-1 double, which is obviously not great for what we want. But I'd take them getting 1 now. Just give us 5 minutes of a chance. But just put the ball across the box there, and again, like any sort of touch, and it's in the back of the net. It's ridiculous the amount of chances they've had.
Yeah, I mean, 84 minutes now. Even if they scored, would you have any hope of the bet coming in? We need 2 goals from them. Kortrijk,
yeah, but it would just give us a small
bit
bit of hope for the last couple of minutes.
To give a bit of excitement for sure. Yeah. Kortrijk are still up 2-0, 2 minutes left there. Seraing did actually have a few chances. They've had a lot more of the attacks and 7 corners to 1. I think they've definitely upped their game a bit since going down 2-0. They've been pushing, but thankfully this Kortrijk defence that LB alluded to is holding firm, and like a minute and a half of normal time, 2-0 up, you can only see a away win there, so looking decent.
Yeah, again, they're 2 great shouts from you lads. So
no, well, and I mean, Gary, if you replayed this game again tomorrow, West Brom would likely win 3-0. So, I mean, it's there's nothing wrong with how you thought the game would go. You just need the goals, right?
That's it. Just need a little bit of luck at the green. So, which unfortunately isn't coming at the moment.
But in fairness, I mean, I think it should give viewers a bit of confidence in tailing our bets. Like, I mean, it was an 18-1 shot, and 2 of the 3 games have come in. which I think LB's was about 6-5 or 7-5 maybe, and mine was 13-5. So like even if you were backing those individually, you're still up decent money. And like we've mentioned, we had a 45-1 winner just 2 weeks ago. So we can hit them all right, and we've hit a few this season already.
Yeah, I need to look at P&L, but for this, I think we're probably up about 60 or 70 units for the season. So, that's fairly good.
And even our in-play betting has gone very well. PK, it looks like Inter are going to hold on. They went up 5-0 there, so you had them back to win to 0. Obviously, Munich, you had them back minus 2.5 goals, and they won comfortably 4-0. So that came in. I had goal bets on Leuven women first half and second half that both came in. They're up 5-0 now. So, that was pretty nice. So, overall, we've done pretty well. It's only this West Brom game that's letting us down, which is unfortunate because it'd be a nice payday for us. It'd be a nice payday for one of our viewers.
I mean, I don't do much tracking of the in-play in this because we do mention quite a few, but like there's lots of good tips, and I like the last 3-4 weeks that I've been on this stream with you guys, and I'm been up considerably leaving them. So I mean, if you might have to do a little bit of picking and choosing, but we generally aren't too far off the mark with the in-play bets either. That's for sure.
No, with the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been doing very well with the in-play betting. Yeah. Sometimes you just have one of those off nights where nothing seems to stick, nothing goes our way. But I mean, I'm definitely up money tonight, even if the accumulator doesn't come off. So it's not the end of the world. I would be up a lot more if West Brom were in here, but can't have them all.
A bet for tomorrow, just before I forget. I mean, I mentioned last week, and I think there's been further stuff happen since to make it a little bit more apparent. Is the downhill trend of Borussia Mönchengladbach. They lost again during the week. I think to Frankfurt, and I think I had them. I think I had Frankfurt backed double chance, and they won 3-2 away from home at Gladbach. So, and it was even money double chance for Frankfurt. It was around 1.75. But they're away to Hoffenheim tomorrow, and Hoffenheim's home record is very good, and Hoffenheim's overall record is very good. But they've won their last 6 at home, Hoffenheim, with not conceding too many. They've beaten Leipzig, they've beaten Wolfsburg, they've beaten Cologne, and Mönchengladbach are in like dire straits going. They're having lost 5 of their last 7 away from home, and in the form they're in, and you're getting even money about Hoffenheim. So I'd say keep following that train until there's a Mönchengladbach turn the corner. But like I said, they're going the way of Schalke the season before. And
you were saying that last Friday, and they went on to lose badly over the weekend. Then after you had mentioned it, didn't they?
Yeah, they're in just like. I don't know what's happened to them. As I said, they beat Bayern 5-0 in the cup, and then after just around that, they've just been absolutely diabolical in the league.
It's full time there in the Inter game, 5-0. So your win to 0 came in pretty comfortably there. Salernitana, in fairness, had 10 shots, but only 2 on target, so they probably never really looked like scoring. Very comfortable win, and yeah, you nearly start feeling bad for them when you get 3 wins for a team to beat them to 0. You'd start feeling a little guilty. The Kortrijk game. Sorry, go ahead, PK.
I think that's 8 out of 9. Their last 9 games, Salernitana haven't scored in. So I mean, back against them every week, I think it's kind of the way you have to be looking at it.
Yeah,
I don't like no one wants to see a team suffer that much, to be honest with you. But
no, it's a bit harsh, all right.
You have to be brutally honest and bet your money accordingly, and you'll make money. So it's just
that's
there.
Pay.
Yeah.
Kortrijk game is finished 2-0, so that's LB's pick coming in there. I mean, we've known for the last 20 minutes that was going to come in because Seraing didn't look like they were going to score once, never mind twice. But yeah, it's full time there, so fair play, LB. It's your night off, but you're still getting profit for the show, so good going.
Yeah, lads, I'm absolutely sick that this bet hasn't landed. This is going to be the one that got away. But actually, we had the other one as well where wasn't there a chance in the last minute where we could have won it earlier in the season as well, but so frustrating. It should be a winner. So apologies for that, but we'll be back next week with, well, not next week, but in the new year with a proper winner.
Yeah, we're gone now until the new year, right? But there'll still be plenty of articles going up on the website. So if anyone's looking, we mentioned a few decent ones there over the weekend. Juvier EFL 16-1 ACA. It's that Blackburn home win is the one that stands out for me. I think I'm going to put a hefty bet on that. And then we've the LaLiga bets and the Serie A bets as well over the weekend. But those articles up on sportsrundown.com, they'll continue over the holidays, and even though we won't have the show, there'll still be plenty to bet on there. So definitely worth keeping an eye on the website.
Hopefully in the new year too, there's a more settled schedule too, because I think COVID's going to play absolute havoc with the schedules. I see a lot of teams in the EFL and Premier League have lots of reported cases. The NFL, and you can only imagine it's going to spread it's going to cause issues in other countries and sports too. So
it's looking that way. All right, yeah. A lot of the rugby called off over the weekend. Already the French teams aren't allowing UK travel in, so there's any of those kind of European fixtures in any sport are going to be disrupted for sure. Yeah. But whatever's on, we'll definitely be betting on it.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm looking forward to like Stephen's Day, Boxing Day for the punting. So I'm hoping that isn't going to be interrupted too much, because with the amount of horse racing and football, it's probably my most favorite betting day of the year. So fingers crossed that it isn't disrupted too much with the COVID cases.
Me being in Canada, I think it's the most I think it's the most homesick I get of any day of the year, because it's just not the same here, In Ireland, everyone, or even in the UK, everyone goes to the bookies and puts on a few bets and goes to the pub and just sits there for the day watching horse racing, soccer, whatever sport is on. Like there's NFL as well, and it's just a great day, and it's just not unfortunately it's not really treated the same over here in terms of that. So
yeah, my godson gets me a voucher for Boyle Sports every year for Christmas Day, and it's like spent the next day. It's like I get it, and then 12 hours later or whatever.
I'm not even going to say what that says about you, Gary, but but at least I know it's going to get used, right, and that you appreciate it. So
that's it. It's like it goes straight to the heart.
Yeah. There was a double injury in the game here, and it stopped it for 2 or 3 minutes. And I think there was originally 4 minutes of added time. I think it's going to go on till about 7 at this right now.
Oh, really? West Brom are about 14. Oh no, they're 19-1 now on Betfair Exchange. What do you reckon?
I actually see them as 22-1 on the sports books, lads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're only 11-1 on Bet365.
No, I think it's a bit late to be back.
No, I know. I was just thinking, does it have the feel of one of those games where they just break Barnsley hearts, having defended Warriors for 95 minutes, that they just go up and get a late winner?
Yeah, I kind of I think I'd be really sick if they scored now, because they're just,
not getting to over 1.5.
If you 1 goal away, at least now it's 2 goals away. You're like, all right, no chance or whatever. So.
Yeah, no. Sure. I mean, we're not going to win these ACCAs every week, but we're offering decent odds, and we're offering a free win if anybody gets involved. They don't have to pay anything; they just have to comment on YouTube. And we had a €450 payout a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully people will follow us into New Year, get involved, let us know their bets, what they're backing. We'll be on every Friday night at the same time into the new year, so looking forward to it. And like I said, keep an eye on sportsrundown.com for any of these articles. There's plenty of good betting tips. We're definitely up units for the year so far. So, on your EFL, Gary, we also have LaLiga, Serie A, League One, and a bit more American football and horse racing goes up there too. So plenty for people to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely a lot to get stuck into. But hopefully we can get back on the board with winners, even though, as you said, we've had a lot of winners over recent weeks. So, but you need to keep them ticking along. Confidence more than anything else,
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not going to win an 18-1 treble every week, or the bookies would be shutting us down. But
well, that's the aim every week, man. Maybe not a realistic aim, but
yeah, but we certainly win enough to make a bit of profit. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a few more winners now into January once we're back on air, and plenty of winners ticking over on the website at least. So that'll keep us occupied.
The game hasn't quite ended in the championship; it's just about to end. But I think we'll probably say our happy Christmases and goodbyes anyway, just in the anticipation. So thanks for everybody who's watching or has watched the show today. So if you like what you see, give us a like or a follow or a subscription, depending on the platform that you're viewing in on. And yeah, as Slat says, we'll be back in the new year with plenty more of these Friday night trebles. Every Friday night, same time, same place, we'll be here. So looking forward to seeing you in the new year. And lads, if I'm not speaking to you, happy Christmas.
Yeah, happy Christmas and New Year to everyone watching.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in through the year. We've had some good shows and some good bets, so I'm looking forward to keeping it going into the new year.
Yeah, great. Well, we'll leave it there. So guys, thanks very much, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.
Over and out.